We're now entering a crucial time in this high-stakes test of wills. Last week, an appeals court reinstated the gag order against him in New York. Judges in D.C. also rejected his broad claims of presidential immunity, which prompted Tanya Chutkan, the judge in Jack Smith's federal election interference case, to write, quote, defendant's 4-year service as commander-in-chief did not bestow on him the divine right of kings to evade criminal accountability that governs his fellow citizens, end quote. But those legal losses haven't curbed his legal team's efforts to escape or at least postpone his prosecutions. At a hearing on Friday, his lawyers went as far as to argue that a trial in the Fulton County, Georgia case this year would constitute election interference.
Can you imagine the notion of the Republican nominee for president not being able to campaign for the presidency because he is in some form or fashion in a courtroom defending himself? That would be the most effective election interference in the United States.
Now, we'll let Fulton County Judge Scott McAfee make the final judgment on that. But these recent rulings and arguments are reminders that there are still a number of complex issues to resolve as America, for the first time, considers the prosecution of a former president who's also running to return to the White House. It's been looming large over the Republican presidential primary since the very beginning. And in these recent rulings, the vulnerabilities that they expose are perhaps welcome news for the remaining candidates who are currently trailing the former president by a country mile. It's been a particularly good week for the former South Carolina governor and Trump's former United Nations ambassador, Nikki Haley, who appears to be coalescing the support of the anti-Trump faction of the GOP. She recently received a coveted endorsement from the Koch network's powerful and influential conservative super PAC and a boost of support from Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. And some recent polls have also shown her pulling ahead of Ron DeSantis in the early primary states of New Hampshire and South Carolina. She's been on the rise since the first primary debate, and she's got some pretty good momentum with only 6 weeks left before the first contest of 2024. But the race she appears to be winning is the race for second place. So it's worth asking, is it too late for her or any Republican to catch up to Donald Trump? There is the belief that the Republican Party's presidential nominee could be contingent on how Trump handles his criminal cases or how they unfold in the months ahead, and why second place could matter. But if we take a look at the calendar of what's ahead, time is running out. Judge Arthur Engoron has scheduled closing arguments for Trump's civil fraud trial in New York for January the 11th. Donald Trump is expected to testify that day. On January the 15th, Republicans in Iowa will caucus for their favorite candidate and kick off the 2024 election cycle. And a new Trump-related trial will begin that day, too, for the second civil suit that's brought by the writer and the columnist E. Jean Carroll. Now, on January the 23rd, New Hampshire is going to hold its primaries, and Republicans will hold nominating contests in 2 states in February, Nevada on February the 8th, and South Carolina on Nevada February 8th, South Carolina on February 24th. So if any Republican hopes to seriously give Donald Trump a run for his money, it better happen in these first 2 months of the year, because Republicans in Idaho, Michigan, and Missouri will caucus on March 23rd. North Dakota Republicans will do the same thing 2 days later on March 4th, which is the same day that the federal interference trial, the first criminal trial of a former American president in history, is scheduled to begin. But wait, there's more. The next day, March 5th, is Super Tuesday. 16 states will hold primaries and caucuses on that day. And on March 25th, the New York hush money trial begins. That's the Alvin Bragg trial in Manhattan. As NBC News First Reads points out, when the results for Super Tuesday come in, quote, Republicans will have allocated nearly half, 47% of their delegates from the contests in the 2024 GOP presidential race. Then on March 25th, Trump's second criminal trial, the hush money case in Manhattan, is going to begin. So if this calendar holds,